Surely nothing is better than watching a good animated cartoon. But do you know the origins of the world's most famous animated cartoons? SpongeBob Squarepants. SpongeBob is a prime example of a cartoon that involves various countries around the world, and most people have no idea. For instance, the location where the yellow sponge and his friends live, Bikini Bottom, actually exists in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, in a place called Micronesia. It's somewhat similar to where the movie Moana is set, completely isolated from the rest of the world. Moreover, the show is narrated by a diver whose face we never see, but whose accent tells us they're from a country on the other side of the planet, France. All of this was created and envisioned in 1999 by the late Steven Hillenburg, who hailed from California and had previously worked as a biologist on the state's beautiful beaches. Not to mention, Nickelodeon, which produces SpongeBob SquarePants, is based in Hollywood, also in California. Despite this international blend, the show is 100% American-made. But at the same time, there are many other globally famous cartoons that people often mistake for being American when they're actually from countries you'd never imagine. Angry Birds. If you've played or watched the Angry Birds franchise movies, you probably had no idea that the concept of grumpy birds living on a tropical island and battling greedy pigs originated in the icy country of Finland in 2009. Created by game designer Jaakko Lisalo, the game featuring birds with mean faces, without visible legs or wings, went viral immediately and was played by millions worldwide. Naturally, the game eventually became an animated film, which was a major success upon its release in 2016, with a sequel 3 years later. Directly from Finland to the world, Angry Birds has spawned nearly 20 games, 2 films, and even comic books. There are also several exclusive attractions in parks in places like China, Malaysia, and England, along with a space park in partnership with NASA. Pretty cool. The Amazing World of Gumball. Now, let's talk about a fact that might shock you. Did you know that The Amazing World of Gumball, one of the best cartoons of all time, originates from France? Well, the show's creator, Ben Bouclet, is a French animator who developed the series based on various characters he had created throughout his life at different times. That's why it boasts the most diverse range of characters you've probably ever seen in a cartoon, and probably why it has been such a hit. Although it's aired on Cartoon Network, Ben and his team still work at the company's European branch office today, where all the craziest ideas and episodes in the world of cartoons that make us laugh and have fun come from. Peppa Pig. Another cartoon that many believe is American, but actually isn't, is the animated series Peppa Pig. In fact, throughout the show about the pink piglet, we can identify the country where the whole story unfolds. For example, some episodes of the show feature a queen. So tell me, do you know which country until recently was ruled by a female monarch? If you thought England, you're right! The creators of the children's show are 3 Britons who wanted to create something for a preschool audience, and they never imagined it would be so successful, with over 300 episodes aired over the 20 years of the character's existence. And if you love animations, show us now by commenting below #cartoon. The Smurfs. The Smurfs is another children's series, but it's much older than all the ones we've talked about so far. The blue creatures who live in mushrooms became hugely popular in the 80s and again in the 2000s with the release of movies and new animated series. What few people know is that the character's story is even older, created in Belgium in 1958 by comic artist Pierre Culliford. So, your grandparents and parents probably are old enough to have watched the Smurfs at some point in their lives. And everything involving these little blue-skinned beings with white caps comes directly from this small European country a long time ago. Bluey. Speaking of blue characters, of course, we have to talk about the most successful children's animated show nowadays. Bluey's series is an incredible phenomenon that's everywhere in the world, but was created and developed in Australia in 2016 when the first pilot episode was made. The series is full of references to the land of kangaroos, as well as references to the state of Queensland and the city of Brisbane, where the story takes place. In addition to featuring various sports and popular athletes from Australia who are always portrayed and have become known worldwide because of the show, which is really fun and cool. With 3 seasons already aired and a 4th one on the way, the truth is that Bluey shows no signs of ending anytime soon, which is definitely great news. Winx Club. If you've watched cartoons from the early 2000s, you surely know Winx Club, a series focused on a teenage audience following a group of friends with magical powers in a world of adventure and fantasy. The show, which was a global success, originated in a country that few people realize: Italy. Created in 1999 by Eugenio Straffi, the series started airing in 2004 and had 3 more localized seasons until it became known worldwide, with its 4th season launched internationally in partnership with Paramount and Nickelodeon in 2009. Since then, the show has become even more famous, with plans for a reboot in 2025 and a live-action series for teenagers launched since 2021, available on Netflix. Masha and the Bear. Returning to more child-focused cartoons, we can't skip the most famous Russian cartoon of all time, Masha and the Bear. Created in 2011 by animator Oleg Kuzovkov, inspired by the country's folklore, it has been seen and broadcast to children in over 180 countries. The show's channels have millions of views on each of their videos, and the fact that neither Masha nor the other characters speak much has greatly aided the series' internationalization, known in every corner of the globe. Doraemon. If there's one thing produced in Japan on a large scale, it's animated cartoons, better known as anime. And one of the most well-known in the land of the rising sun is the classic comedy Doraemon, featuring a robot cat that travels 200 years back in time to help Nobita, an extremely clumsy student. All of this was created by manga writer Fujiko Fujio in 1969. The first version of the show was initially released in 1973 and had an even more famous 2005 version. To give you an idea of Doraemon's success, the anime was used as a symbol of Japan's Ministry of Foreign Affairs and was also used during the Tokyo Olympics in 2021. And it's much simpler than competing in the Olympics to subscribe to our channel. Just click on this button right here below, okay? Larva. If you had a childhood, you probably saw at some point, maybe even on Cartoon Network or Disney Channel, moments of the Larva cartoon. And even after seeing the 2 little worms, one red and the other yellow, in many funny moments and amid fart jokes, you probably don't know that this show was actually made for adults, not children. Launched in 2011, the graphic animation series became so popular with children and teenagers that it was sold to be broadcast in over 40 different countries like France, Germany, Taiwan, Chile, and Brazil. Few people know, but the series, which has 4 seasons and over 260 episodes, originates from South Korea and was created by Mayoung Jugong for the Tuba Studio. So, if you like this show, now you know. Pocoyo. Returning to famous children's cartoons worldwide, there's a real possibility that at some point in your life, you've at least heard of Pocoyo, the series about the little boy in blue clothes and a hat who's just 4 years old and loves to play and discover new things. I didn't even realize it myself, but the show airs in over 120 countries including the UK, USA, and various countries in Latin America. It all began in 2005 at the Zinquilla studio in Spain, created jointly by 3 colleagues, David Cantoya, Luis Gallego, and Guillermo Garcia. El Chavo. Now, let's talk about a cartoon based on the most successful comedy series ever created in Mexico's history. It all started way back in 1973, over 50 years ago, when Televisa and Roberto Bolaños created the show about the boy who lived in a barrel. El Chavo was aired in practically every Latin American country, and even in unimaginable places like China, Japan, India, Morocco, as well as Italy and Spain. The series lasted until 1980, but its success was so great that in 2006, the rights holders decided to make the animated version of El Chavo featuring practically all the characters and spanning 7 seasons. Another major franchise success, helping many grandparents relive fond memories. Monica's Gang. Speaking of Latin America, there's also a cartoon from the only Portuguese-speaking country in the tropical continent that was quite successful in various parts of the world. Called Monica's Gang, the animated series is based on comics released in 1959 by cartoonist Mauricio de Sousa. Over the years, newspaper comic strips turned into little books and then animated series with child and teenage versions of the characters from 1976 onward, receiving updates to this day. The franchise now includes games, animated and live-action movies, and a theme park. Versions of the cartoon are broadcast in various parts of the world, such as Russia, Japan, Italy, Spain, and many other countries in Europe and Latin America. If you enjoy cartoons and videos, you've probably heard of most of these animated shows, if not all of them. To keep you entertained, we're leaving 2 videos for you to watch. See you in the next video. Until then!